All right, welcome to Module 6. We're going to go over stacked timelines. So every project you have can have multiple timelines. So as you can see, we're inside the test project right now. And we made a couple of timelines on here. And you could tell over here in your media bin, these timelines have that little film strip icon on it. So this is timeline 2. And test project's timeline lives somewhere. And then also you could find your timelines, of course, as I showed under Smart Bins. So this 3-dot menu shows Smart Bins. There's a timelines folder. And here's both of our timelines. The one with the check mark is obviously our current. And then we have timeline 2 here. So this is useful if you are doing various types of edits. So if you have your initial rough cut you're working on and you are getting stuff laid out, just examining it, evaluating it, you could make a rough cut timeline. And then as you trim it down, make some changes, maybe start a B-roll cam or iPhone footage only. So you could have a timeline for every single layout that you want to start working on. And then you could have like version 1 that you're going to work on to be your master cut. So let's say you had various like a cam here. We only have that media in there, but if we had iPhone footage here and we wanted to pull it into the next timeline, you can do that. And here's this drop down menu, and you could see we have the 2 timelines listed. So if I click timeline 2, you could see this now says timeline 2, and now this timeline has just this single clip. But one of the beautiful features that Resolve has is stacked timelines. So below your source monitor here, there's this icon that's grayed out. You can click it, and this gives you some view options. Like, do you want to see waveforms? Do you want to see right here, stacked timelines? Subtitle tracks. So it kind of gives you a little bit of space, and there's a couple view options for your audio, and you could also adjust the video and audio height here as well. But let's go ahead and click on stacked timelines. So as you can see, the only thing that happened here is we got this little gap here, and this says timeline 2. We have a plus, and then we also have this icon here that popped up for adding a stacked timeline. So the reason I bring that up is we can actually click on the plus here and drop down the first timeline, and you can actually slide them around on here as well. So if I wanted timeline 2 over here, and let's say we're going from test project and we like this clip here, we could always say copy, click back onto timeline 2, hit end, and paste it right in there. Now stack timelines, let's just get rid of timeline 2 here, and we'll stick with test project. We're going to click this plus button over here. Now you could see we have this essentially dual layered timeline going on. So this is how a lot of editors work from one timeline to another. So let's make this first timeline timeline 2, and we'll get rid of that the clip we added just now, and then I'll make this bottom timeline the initial project timeline that we brought up. So now I have access to both timelines in real time. Your output and your timeline monitor will change accordingly depending on which one you're focused on. So now let's say if this was just all of our clips in a row and I'm like, oh, I want this car close up. We could copy that. I could click into this timeline 2. We're at the end of the clip, copy it there, keep going. This is great if you have like a version 1 and a version 2 and you're wanting to make some changes and save your timeline. So now that this is, let's say we're done grabbing from test project timeline, you can actually just hit this little X mark and you'll go back to your single timeline or you can have it as we showed earlier, like a tab under here. So very cool. This feature is pretty awesome, especially if you get more deeper into the editing process. You'll find it pretty beneficial, especially if you need to go back and forth and make changes. So that is how you access your stacked timelines and stack them together or bounce back and forth between the two to access your clips that you might have on your various named timelines. I'll see you guys on the next module.